Hello, my name is Austin and welcome to my channel, Kitchen of Stitching. And this is my first video into Flosstube land. We're going to see how it goes. Either it's going to be a hit or a miss. So, let's see, where do I begin? Like I said, my name is Austin, born and raised in Louisiana, still a resident of Louisiana. I'm very much an old soul. Always been an old soul. By the time I was 6 years old, I had the inner spirit of a 72-year-old. Always been an old soul. My first craft picking, and I've been cross-stitching now for about 16 years, and that's not compared to some of the ones that's been cross-stitched 16 years, but I've been doing it for about 16 years. And that was my first craft I ever picked up. I remember sitting in front of the TV as a child. What's that movie called? Hold on. Dolores Claiborne by Stephen King. I was at my aunt's house, I believe, and I'm sitting here like, I seen that woman sitting in that chair. She had that hoop in her hand, and she was just a-going. And I'm sitting here thinking, looking at that TV, I'm like, I want to do that. Whatever she's pushing, I want to push. That string she's pulling, I want to pull. I want to hold that hoop. And I remember I went to my aunt. I said, come here. She said, huh? I said, what is that? She looked at the TV. She's like, what is what? And she must have thought I was talking about a bird or a lizard or some kind of house pet. And I said, what she's holding? She said, that? She said, that's cross-stitching. I said, cross-stitching. And 16 years ago, you used to be able to go to Walmart, your craft stores, and kits had multiple of kits. But I can tell you, and at that time, I did it. 14 count Ada, kit it up, enjoy it. I still get kits to this day. But like, I didn't know the difference of different even weaves, higher count, linen. I was just 14 count Ada, and I still love working with Ada, just not 14 count. I like higher than 14. So I went to Walmart and started doing it that way. And even at that time, my friends didn't cross stitch. They did not like cross stitching. They were out skateboarding or something. I don't know. I have no idea. So I was doing it by myself. And like I said, Flosstube wasn't a thing then. And if it was, I didn't know. So I did it along the way, and so I put it down, and I picked up other things. Quilting in hand, crochet, knitting, sewing. I don't too much quilt in hand no more because that's a lot of... Quilting in hand is a lot of work, and so I don't too much do that anymore. Well, so years went on, cross-stitching on and off through the years, but my passion came back for it was when I discovered Flosstube. Now, I knew about BookTube. And look, before I say that, when it comes to videos, if I miss a word or something like that, it's just going to stay in these videos. I am not editing. Number one, because I don't know how. Number two, I don't even think I would enjoy editing, so we're just going to keep on trucking. Just hit the gas and go. But when I discovered, like I said, I knew about BookTube because I'm an avid reader. But then I discovered Flosstube. And everyone I watched, it was just I loved it. So many things I've learned through Flosstube. I learned how to sew in hand, and I'm a lefty. And for the best advice I can give for left-handed, if you're wanting to learn how to sew in hand, the best advice I can give you is watch the video and just do it. Because I hear a lot of people say, where do I go next? I just finished this row. Where do I go next? How do I turn it? Completely by feel. That's how I did mine. And it brings me back to the hoop. When I started doing one hand, I wanted to venture off and do both hands. Because when I use the hoop, I use both hands. And I'm sitting here remembering, like, how do I do this? I just had to do it through feel. So discovering Flosstube, and I would watch Flosstube just to laugh. Like the Floss Boss and Cousins. I love the when I tell you I laugh, and just having a welcomeness from the get-go. And you're sharing a craft. You learn things. It was just a good experience for me. And doing Flosstube, there were some things that were holding me back. Because I've been watching Flosstube now for about 2 years. Or a year and a half, one of the two. I'm like, oh my goodness. If I do Flosstube, because these Flosstubers, they're showing off 7 or 8 projects a week, 6 or more, let it score. And I'm sitting here thinking, Now, I do have multiple projects. I don't switch them out like that. Like the project I'm working on now, I work on them for about 3.5, 4 months. Uh, and then I'll switch. I'm a seasonal stitcher as well, but that's how I do it. Once I do it, I do it for a good period of time, get a good chunk of it done, then I'll switch it up. There has been a few times in between where I'm like, I want something different and put it down and keep it moving. Let's see. Talked about that. Talked about how I got into it. What I'm stitching now. Let's start off with the bag. Amazon. I have tons and tons of these. I've been using these a long time. Amazon, I don't know the name. It's just craft bags. All sizes. I got tons of them. That's how I store everything in. I keep all my bags on one side. I got a craft tray by my chair, my sewing chair. I got a craft tray and a Lowry stand. The pattern's on one side, and my DMC store. This takes me back. I remember when I first started cross stitching, I had to have that clear box, colors lined up, matching, wrapping every one of them singly, putting the numbers on. About 2 years, I was like, this ain't for me. I can't do this. I can't do this no more. So I said, I gotta come up with a different one. I use envelopes, just regular old envelopes. And I kept it in a shoebox, a good shoebox for years. Good quality of that shoebox. It was good. That cardboard was strong and thick, and it was good. I got 6 years out of it. I just had to throw it away recently because it got a little raggedy and rough. And so I'm like, do I get another shoebox or do I jump up to plastic? I went to plastic. But I do the envelopes. When I buy them, I don't unravel it. I put it all in the envelope that's labeled for that number, and I put them in there. And it's like I have big index cards going in between, like 300 to 600 label. 600, so on and so forth. That's how I do it. And I have no problems with it. I enjoy it. And it don't take up much room either. Fabrics. Like I said, Flosstube, I learned so much. Linen, different kinds of even weaves. Now, linen is a love and hate. I love it to look at because it's beautiful to work on. But as of working on it, I can't do it. When I tried working on it, I'm looking at it and I'm like, huh? Because it's not an even weave. You got to train your eyes to look at them whelps, and I couldn't do it. And anything above 40 count in even weave, I'm looking at it like, I can't even see it. So anything above an even weave that's over 40, I don't too much mess with. And linen, I wish that I could stitch on linen. I just can't do it. So I either even weaves, Adas, not 14 count Adas. I try to stay away from that because I do not like 14 or 16. It's either got to be 18 or above. I like 32. That's what I like staying in. It's 32. Let's see what I'm stitching on. And I only brought one because I didn't even think I was going to do this video today. But as I'm looking outside and rain is falling down and I hear don't know if it was a child or a squirrel. I'm sitting here thinking, I'm going to do this video because I was just sitting here cross-stitching. Showed you the bag. Now, this is an upgrade too because I used to keep it on sticky notes back in the day. But Flosstube, I do keep a book of days now, and this is how I chart it. Anybody that does not have a book of days, I suggest you getting it, or even not, go to a planner. One of the two. Now, I ain't going to show y'all the month of February because it's a little dull. Actually, it's very dull. January. I focus. I write what I'm doing here, the details, and I put a symbol, like a star. And then I just write down the times that I stitch in a star. The stars let me know what project it is I worked on. January's kind of dull. Well, no, I got some stitching done in January. And what I'm working on is Victorian Charmer by Nancy Ross. Nancy Rossi. 1982, 18 count, Ada. And did I show y'all the floor store? I'll show y'all. So this is what I got done so far. And I'm not doing sewing in hand on this one because it's a lot of color change. There's a lot of changing of colors in this. So, and I got a good ways to go too. But I love stitching houses. That's one of the things I love to stitch houses and like the scenery of that. Always have. Yeah, I can't do sewing in hand. Like I said, sewing in hand. I do sewing in hand, Flosstube. I learned how to sew in hand as well. But this got too much color changing, so I'm just using the hoop. Now, this is what I use for this. How this is going to reflect poorly on me because I don't know the name of this. It's a floss organizer, but I do not know who makes it because so many people make these now. You just go to Amazon and you type in floss organizer, and they'll pop. And look, you just straighten it out, comb it out, just straighten it out. And that's what I love this. And then when I get done, I wrap it up just like this, and I put it in the bag. Floats my boat. Okay, and the pattern. Like I said, I'm an old soul. Don't like too much change. I just came up off the patterns a little over a year ago, and I got an iPad. I don't know what iPad it is, but it's an iPad. And I use GoodNotes. And see, people have been using GoodNotes for this for a while. I'm just now coming around to it. But let me tell you, I love it. GoodNotes, I find I keep of a better, I'm not missing a stitch. It's more better on track. And I love it. I absolutely love GoodNotes. And I still do paper patterns from time to time. Thinking about it, I'll do paper patterns here and there. With all that being said, I'm going to try and do a video once a week. We're going to see. That's going to be my goal. We're going to see if this ship sells and cool. Like I said, this is going to be just showing you what I'm doing. It's a craft that I love doing, and I want to get more into the community with individuals that do this as well. Because like I said, where I live, cross stitching is just not a thing. Where I live, and if they are, they're few and far in between. So it's just me sharing of what I'm doing. Any tricks I pick up along the way I bind my edges, which I don't sew. I do not sew. I sew, but not sew on the fabric. I use masking tape. I'll mask tape it and roll with it. And even when it comes to framing, unless it's a tight frame. But I'm slick when it comes to frames now. I get one that's got a little give in the back, got some space in between there. Because what I'll do is after my projects is done, I won't cut it unless it's a good chunk that I can use something else. I'll take that iron, make some heavy creases on it to create a perfect square, put it in there, tack it, and then put it in the frame. And that's how I do that. So anyways, thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you like and subscribe. That's even new for me to say, but I'm gonna get the hang of it. Make sure you like and subscribe if you're just like me. You're a cross stitcher. You want to learn. You want to have good laughs, because that's all this is. Show you what I'm doing, and you guys have a great week. For those of you who are going out, I'm not doing Mardi Gras. Today is Saturday, February the 10th. It's the 10th. Thank God I'm off of work for Mardi Gras. But I won't be doing any Mardi Gras things. I'm gonna be at home watching Forensic Files and stitching. I like watching Forensic Files when I stitch, because I'm like, what's that? Murder, She Wrote? You get that going, I'm like Jessica Fletcher. I got to know. I'm doing, as I'm stitching, I'm watching. And then when I let time pass me by, I realized 5 hours done passed me by. So that's what my plans. So you guys stay safe, and until then, happy stitching.